Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is part 2 of the Trying to Build a Rated Level series. In part 1, we learned how to use the spawn trigger, and we made a little small level right here. It's nothing much, it's just one mechanic, but I think I'm going to use that mechanic for the whole rest of the level. And I'm also very proud of this because I am not good with the editor, and hopefully I will be at the end of this series, and I think this is a good first step. But anyway, I've tried recording this a couple times, but none of the ideas that I've had actually worked out, such as trying to make the spawn trigger activate multiple times. I couldn't figure out how to do that. I thought it was with this multi-trigger setting, but apparently not. One thing you might have picked up on is that these hide and show triggers are new, so that the player appears along with everything else. I think it's a cool little addition, and I added it off camera. But without further ado, let's try to get into some ideas. So, I think the first thing I'm going to do for the day is very simple. I'm going to kind of make this structure just fit in more with the level itself. So instead of having like a random block that's stopping you here, I can make it like an actual whole structure. I think the way I would do that is by, would I do this? They kind of overlap each other weirdly if I do that. If I make that group 5, and then there's also like an area right here that looks weird, that's like incomplete and such. So maybe what I can actually do instead is I can do something like this. What does this look like? Does it look exactly like that? Is it pink? Okay. I don't want it to be pink. Maybe we could go for like a gray. That doesn't look bad, I don't think. It's like a little rock formation so that it stops you instead of just like a full block that stops you. Another thing I just did real quick along with this block design is try to make a little spike design. So I tried to make something that kind of resembles spikes. I used those like cave stalactite thingies. I don't really know what to call them, but I think they look alright. So I've improved the level a lot visually, and the next thing I want to do is just work on adding more gameplay. And one of my goals with adding gameplay to this level is I want it to be speed runnable. I don't want it to be like hold right or an auto scroller where you're waiting all the time, because I personally really like speed running things. So I think it would be cool if people could speed run my level. So I think I'm going to add some ladders and make like a top area. And I actually know how to do this, surprisingly. You can go here and go passable, and that's how you make things semi-solid. I actually know that. I remember searching it up on YouTube, and there was this one tutorial that was like how to make a ladder, and that was so helpful. And I'm just now realizing that that actually doesn't work, because what I have to do instead is something like this, where we have a bunch of blocks right here that are semi-solids, because the ladders themselves are decoration, so making those passable wouldn't do anything. So I have like a bunch of invisible platforms in the middle of the ladder so you can just jump up it. Now I'm going to make this ladder brown, and I put the semi-solids on the same layer as the ladder because I'm dumb. But in any case, I think I can still make it brown. And I think for the base, I want a lighter brown. I don't know. I think that's okay. There's definitely something more I can do with that. One quick change I made is I kind of changed the design of these spikes up a little. These are still the same, but I added a different kind of like stalagmite block to just give it more variety. I think that looks better for sure. Okay, the next thing I'm going to experiment with is simply just turning the ground black at first instead of this like default color. Gaussium commented, said it would be more fitting. And I mean, yeah, I think it looks fine. I don't know if I like it better though. And then I also just turned the new stuff invisible so it really does look like a default level until that happens, and then it all just kind of turns into this. All right, next goal is I am going to actually get rid of this. And I'm going to turn this default block into something that looks better than a default block. So what I preferably want is some kind of block that's just like a singular block, like this. I think this could actually work. All right, let's see how it looks. I'm going to turn it gray. And I'm going to make this invisible, actually. I need to add this to group 2 and 3. And with all that, I think I can actually finally start making new gameplay. I'm going to make a default invisible passable platform right here to simulate the top of the ladder. And I think I know what block I'm going to use for this. Okay, I finally found the block I was looking for. It's like this sign base right here. And I'm just going to line them up here to make a platform. And what I'm also going to do is once I'm done with that, I'm going to tilt all of them a little bit just because I think that looks better. Okay, I finished kind of what I was going for, and immediately I actually want to make it a lighter brown like that. No, I don't like either of the browns too much, actually. This is at least the first version of the spike design I'm going to have on these kind of wood things. I don't think it would fit much to have these kinds of stalagmite things there, so I think I'm going to replace them with these, but my problem is that it doesn't fit too well. But that's okay, I can fix that later. For now, I kind of want to focus on making new gameplay. Now, immediately, there are definitely a lot of visual improvements I can make here, but I just added a little jump right there, second platform, connected it with some ladders to the ground, and I think that's fine for a start. I can definitely improve it later, and I'll probably have to if I want to get this rated, but it's whatever. I'm glad I just made some gameplay. But another thing I was really fixated on while I was making this is changing this move negative 10x trigger so that it has a 0.5 move time instead of instant. So it kind of launches you forward instantly and then slowly goes back to its original position. And I actually think it looks a lot better. Now, next step is to recreate this obstacle over here, because this is kind of where I want the second obstacle to be. So I think what I can do is I can just copy everything over here, and I think it would just work if I moved it over here. Although I am going to get rid of the sound effect trigger because I don't want that to happen every single time. I think that would be annoying. Alright, so I put this over here, and I actually fixed an issue that I had where these weren't multi-trigger, so I can actually use this spawn trigger multiple times. And I think that might actually be what was wrong with the spawn loop, so I'm going to go test that in just a second. But I also added a pad right here, because the momentum that you get is absolutely insane. I think this could be used for some really cool obstacle, because just look at how far it launches you. So I'm back in the old spawn loop level, and what I did was I made all 4 of these move triggers multi-trigger. And I think that should at least make it activate twice, once when this spawn trigger happens and once when this spawn trigger happens. But I don't know if it would make it a loop. Okay, so that doesn't really work. It doesn't loop. But I don't know why it doesn't loop is the problem. It all makes sense to me. So I think I'm actually going to leave this here and try to figure that out in the next episode. This will be like the first arc of the series is trying to figure out how to make a spawn loop. But I think that idea definitely helps. I think I might actually finish up here because I've actually been recording for a while. I've been trying to make this easier on myself to edit. So I've been doing a lot of takes for like every single thing I've said. So even though the video is probably a lot shorter, I've been recording for longer than I was last time in order to make a cleaner video. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one.